Today I'm going to show you how to make this amazing desktop background with geometry nodes in under 5 minutes. We're going to start by deleting everything and then adding a plane. Then we will go to the top-down view and drag up the timeline, change it to a geometry nodes workspace, add a new geometry nodes modifier, and delete the first node. Next we're going to press Shift A and add a grid node, plug this into your geometry, then change the size X and Y to the aspect ratio of your monitor, for me 16:9. Then we'll change the vertices X and Y to double of the aspect ratio of your monitor, which is 32:18. Now we'll press Shift A again and search for instance on points, drop this in between your two nodes, and then press Shift A again and search for cube, drop this down here and plug it into your instance. Now we'll add a color ramp node and drop it underneath the cube, add a noise texture on the other side of the color ramp, plug this into the scale of the instances on points. This will vary the scale of the points, like this. Drag the black and white values on the color ramp out to make the change in scale more drastic, and then go up to your cube node and change the scale of the cubes to 0.25 to make them a bit smaller. Next we're going to add a set material node before the output, and then we're going to go down to the color tab and create a new material. We'll change the surface type from principled BSDF to emission, and then change the color to whatever the color you want your squares to be, in my case that's deep blue, and turn the emission values up a bit. Then we'll set render view mode in the viewport and set the material that we just created in the set material node. Now we can go to EV settings and turn on bloom and these other options. Next we'll go back to our viewport and add a background, so Shift A, mesh and plane. Scale this up and then scale it up more in the X direction, and move down the plane so that it's not clipping into the cubes. Now we'll press Shift A and add a camera, clear the rotation and then go into the camera view. We'll move it back until it's just evenly past the edges with G and Z, and set the resolution to 3840 by 2160. To animate this we will have to go to Edit and Preferences and then go to the Animation tab and set Linear Extrapolation. So in this little Bezier drop down, we'll change this to Linear. Make sure to save your preferences and close the preference menu. Pull your Geometry Nodes tab back up and select the squares. We are going to change this noise texture from 3D to 4D, and then we will have a W value that we can animate here. So pull up a new tab and set it to timeline. Drag your playhead over to 0 and set a keyframe on the W. Now we'll change the end of the animation to 120 and the current frame also to 120. Then change the W value to 0.25 and set a keyframe on that. Then if you play your animation back, then you can see that the squares twinkle, but they don't look very saturated. You can fix this by going to the material of your background and adding a darker color. You can also make the color of the background in the world darker. That will also help with the lighting of the scene. Now to render the animation, all we have to do is pick a place for the individual frames to go to. I'm going to go to my desktop and add a new file. I'm going to call it frame cache. This is going to be the file where all my frames go to. And now we can just hit render animation and wait for it to do its thing. Once everything's rendered, you are going to press File, New and Video Editing. Make sure to save your project file, but this is a new file for me, so I'm not going to save it. When you're in, you are going to change your resolution and settings to be the same as the resolution and settings in your original Blender file, so 3840 by 2160, and the FPS can be 24. Now we'll press Shift A and add an image strip. Go to the file where you saved your frames and click on the top one, shift click on the bottom one and press Add Image Strip. Now we can change our end frame to 120 and the file where our video ends up to our desktop or wherever you want it to be. Then make sure your output setting is FFmpeg video, and then you can render animation. Thanks for watching till the end. If you've got any recommendations or requests for videos in the future, please put them in the comments, and as always, have fun. Goodbye.